Welcome to the Gray Area. The Gray Area Media. We've obligated ourselves to be the voice for politics, technology, sports, health, and wellness. The Gray Area Media is a platform created by longtime friends for the sole purpose of providing our communities with the ability to voice current, past, and modern-day issues. The Gray Area, in its naming significance, solely speaks to the area in which people shy away from speaking because of media-based constraints or contractual-based obligations. Well, I'm here to tell you, we don't do that here. So please, stay tuned in. We're going to go live in a few minutes. Don't forget, please add us as a friend on Facebook so that you can follow our live feed. And not only that, please add us on Twitter and Instagram at The Gray Area Media. Please visit our website at www.thegrayareamedialive.com. Thank you. How's everybody doing out there? This is the Gray Area, and we are live right now, y'all, with Poetry Nights. If y'all don't know, April is the month of poetry, and we are going to give y'all some lyrics tonight. Can we get some? Can we get a few snaps? Well, y'all will have to explain to me why people do that, because to this day, I still don't know why. Maybe I've always missed the point. But y'all explain that to me.
Let's talk about this lighting too, man.
Hey, we had to dim the lights for poetry.
Yeah.
Come on, this is where you tone down and you tune in.
Absolutely.
Right? It's your boy Ray E.
It's your boy P. Wills. What's happening out there?
We got Ebony Crow in the building.
Hey.
What's happening?
Hey.
Manon Voice. What's up?
Ebony Crow. Hey, what's up, y'all?
And my man Two Black. How you doing, man?
What's good? What's good?
So you guys are here for a reason. I mean, obviously, you guys are some of the best poets, around, and you guys are good at what you do. The theme for this one is art and activism. I'll give you guys a chance to break that down. I'm not a poet guy. I mean, I write lyrics, but I'm not a poet guy. I think it's poetry is an art. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that gets lost in the art. People don't understand that words are power.
Right.
Go into first. We'll start with you Two Black. Go into where poetry started for you, how you got started in it, what art and activism means to you.
Dope shirt too, Black.
Obviously, yeah, nice shirt.
Yeah,
nice shirt.
Yes, sir.
Here it is.
Shout out to Huey. The question was how I got started in poetry.
Yeah.
Tell him, man, from the womb.
When did
you
it
came
click
out
for you?
ready? You came out right.
Did it make sense to you?
Yeah, it wasn't that deep, man.
What?
I mean, I was in 12th grade. I remember we had a language. What was a class called? Language arts.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we had to write a poem or something, and I could not come up with anything. I remember I couldn't rhyme a single word.
Okay.
I was like completely incompetent. Probably one of the worst in the class. And then like the next semester in a health class, which was weird, my teacher wanted us to write some poetry, and then from there, rhyming just worked. And rhyming is not the only way to write poetry, but for me, that's kind of what together. So for about 7 years, I was writing between 12 and 19. I never really shared it with anybody but my little brother. So he heard like all the terrible poems,
okay.
like, all the garbage, all the ones you think were hot when you were like 15, but you go back like, I wrote that. I need to bar that up. I don't want nobody to hear that. And then at 19, I performed my freshman year in college. I was like so angry. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
What were you angry about?
Everything. I was when I really started reading, so history, black history, everything.
Okay.
So I was angry, but I didn't really have any stage presence back then. So I just remember I was like really mad. I was reading. I was actually reading the Malcolm X biography in the audience just to show how angry I was. Like that's how bad it was. Like I had to learn how to like actually connect with the crowd.
Right,
Back then
right.
I was just like pissed off.
Right.
So I go up. I had this poem called Drive By. I just spit the poem. I ain't getting no introduction, nothing. Everybody's just kind of like looking at me sideways, like I don't know about this nigga, you know.
Right.
So from there, I didn't really think anything was gonna come from it. I did this poem when I was later, like a few years later. I just kept writing. I delivered pizzas while I was in college with the how like the intersections of those things and how like it was hard working a job and going to school and how I was getting wasn't getting tipped by these racist white people and school was a waste of my money and waste of my time and I was just mad once again, but for whatever reason that poem was funny. Like people thought it was hilarious or whatever. So from there, I got like a standing ovation and everybody knew me as the person that did this Pizza Hut poem like on campus. People didn't know who Joe, that's my name. People didn't know who Joe.
There it is. That's his government.
People didn't know who Joe was, but everybody knew who 2 Black was on campus. And from there, I kept rolling with it. And from there, it took off. And now I like travel around and do it.
Wow,
do it like professionally.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with the name 2 Black?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to take all the mic time. That's another long.
No. This is good. You're good.
What the platform is for.
I'm with circa 2007. Obama's running for president. I had this morning job, or I had this early morning job. I had to be at work at like 7. So I got up at like 5 something.
Okay.
CNN is playing the rewinds for the rewinds from the previous day, and there's this discussion on Obama, and it was like all white folks on this panel, and the question on the screen was is Obama 2 Black or is he black enough? But it was all white folks discussing this.
Okay.
It's a problematic question, even if it was all black people, in my opinion, but especially white folks who have always tried to define us and say who we are, who we can and can't be. And they're debating whether the potential black president at the time is too black or black enough. And this one white guy, I can't remember his name, he was like, well, Obama showed he's not like, he's more like King than Malcolm because he's not militant and angry. And
is that Bill O'Reilly?
Nah, this is on CNN. So Bill O'Reilly's on Fox.
Okay, got you.
But it was like they're putting an in and out point on what black was and what it isn't.
Right.
And that's something that's happened historically for black folks. So I wanted to take the name 2 Black and flip it like there's really no such thing. Like you can just be as black as you want, whatever that means to you.
Right.
It's a human experience, and you can't put an in and out point on someone's human experience. You can't say this is where black ends, this is where black enough ends, this is where you begin and end. Like you are who you are, and you live on a spectrum.
Right.
You can go back and forth and however you want. So it was like saying I'm gonna be as much as me as I want to be.
Right.
Then there's also the political context of it, where Malcolm's gave the analogy and the message to the grassroots about how when they want to water something down, they, as in the establishment, the government, the white establishment, whatever he used the analogy of coffee and how if it's black and it's strong and it's too tough, then you put cream in it, you make it easier to digest, to take down. So I wanted my poetry to be black, like in a sense where there's no apology, it's raw, it's straight to the point, it's not as easy to digest, it's difficult to deal with in some situations, it forces you to think critically, and that's the idea of being 2 Black in a political sense, is your blackness is too much for the mainstream. Like they don't want it around because it makes everybody uncomfortable. It upends the very status quo of things. And that's how I wanted my poetry to be.
Oh wow, man!
Wow.
You mentioned that. I mean, you were just angry, right? Like what made you angry?
Man, there's a lot of. I mean, I think at the core of it, what makes me angry is like growing up and knowing that all of this stuff happened, stuff as in slavery. Even before that, I was reading about Egypt and just ancient African history and reading about just all these different things that happened to black people at the time and just the world in general, even Native Americans, Asian Americans with the internment camps in World War II. And all these things weren't in my history books. My parents didn't know much about them. And my father gave me a little bit of knowledge, but overall, like, this was just completely hidden from me. And this all shaped my current predicament. All of these things, slavery shaped my current predicament. Jim Crow shapes my current predicament. Segregation, housing, all these different laws, all these different history, and the legacy of that shapes it. And I'm waking up, and then it's just the idea that people had to go through these things, and just certain details, like when they used to put slaves on the ship, they would call the first slaves Adam and Eve. you know,
Right.
and it was signed and uplifted by the Catholic Church, and you know, the Pope signed off on these things, and they made money off of these things. They built a whole country off free labor, and really learned the details of that. And it's like nobody told me.
Right.
You know, I'm 19 and I'm just now really understanding this.
Right.
Like, I got a little bit of history here and there, but I'm just now getting it. Like,
Right.
this is bullshit. You know?
I was telling a friend of mine, and you know, he's Caucasian. I was telling him that, you know, everything would be so much better if people knew where they were from, and it's not just black people; it's everybody, because we're a land full of immigrants and mixed up people, and oftentimes people are born here and still don't know their history. Like, you have Asian Americans, Black Americans, Latin Americans, you know, and all these people want to know where they originated from. You know, so when you go through school and you go through history and you start finding out that there's more to this puzzle, especially after school, that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
So I think America definitely needs to do a better job at educating everybody, not just black people, but I think people will be more comfortable with getting educated when they know more about themselves. I mean, you know a little bit, but you're a teacher. It's not enough time in a day to genuinely go over all that, is it?
No.
Quick detail, it was in college. I was saying I was angry specifically. We had like core classes. Core classes are the classes you must take in order to graduate, even if they're not actually part of your major. So one of the core classes you had to take in history was Western civilization.
Okay.
You had to take this to graduate.
Right.
But this only talks about Europe and America, like the white world, essentially. But then there was another class literally called non-Western civilization, and they put all the other continents in that one course to talk about everything else. And you didn't actually have to take that. You could take
that was
other alternatives.
Elective,
that was like part of like 3 different classes you could take.
Wow.
So we're already making a clear bias on what's important and what's not.
Right.
And in this Western civilization, we're not speaking about all the people of color that have existed in it, other than when they were in servitude. You know, they're skipping over eras like the Moors and stuff in Europe, and they don't really deal with that or who those people were. So it was like I'm learning all this out of class. And I'm like, I'm paying for all of this in class, and I'm getting all this real knowledge for free. Like, something about this is backwards, you know?
Right.
So it's like,
it's programming.
For some reason, some of the most important people were not the most important people. So, Manan, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Are you ready to tell us what the real is?
Hey.
She's over chilling.
Tell us how you got started in poetry, and tell us, you know, what you think about art and activism.
Yeah, so I really started writing in grade school.
Okay.
I mean, so I was and so for me it was like poetry was my form of escapism. So it was like another world that I could go into as a child. And so, you know, I remember going to the school libraries and, you know, and like the book fairs and picking up poetry books and really just like not understanding all of the language and like the context, but feeling drawn to it, having this affinity to it. So there was something about poetry that really spoke deeply. Like, even though I could not understand it all in my, you know, grade school mindset, there was still something about it that I was really drawn to. And so, you know, oftentimes when we're getting started with an art, we learn by imitation. So, you know, and so I started trying, you know, to write, you know, until like I would go home and, you know, get under my bed and, you know, try to pen lyrics. And I did that. I just wrote. You know what I mean? Just wrote. You know, just had stacks and stacks of notebooks. And so, you know, it's just an interesting evolution because to this day, I'm still a person who reads poetry. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, you know, like it's like
there's a difference between reading and reading, right? Like there's dialect reading where you enjoy every single word and how it goes in a sentence, and then there's just reading where you just kind of just breeze through. Like, this is okay. Right. But you're deeper than that. You know.
I mean, you know, if you come to my house, you will see, you know, poetry books, you know, and so, you know, I mean, you know, and like nowadays, you know, we have some poets, you know, or, you know, self-appointed poets or spoken word artists who they say that they're poets, but then I ask you, you know, who do you read? and they can't tell me any.
Got nothing.
And and they have nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just like, how can you say that you're a poet?
Right.
You don't really, you know what I mean? You don't.
Some people just are in love with the art, right?
Right,
The art of poetry.
right.
Lil Gabron.
And sometimes people are just in love with the entertainment aspect
Yeah.
of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like with the actual. I mean, and some people that's their niche and they are good at it. You
Right.
know, I just tell people I'm a poet's poet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Is there a new age? Not to stop you, but is there a new age of poets? Like, you know, you see how music is transitioning. Is because I fear
Yeah,
that poetry
yeah.
is going to taste some of that eventually, and it's not going to make any sense. Is there? Have you guys seen that in the poetry circuit?
Well, honestly, it's not really new.
Okay.
There's been, I mean, I say that with hip hop, there's always been a bullshit part of it, right?
Okay.
Like hip hop's always had that poetry.
Right.
Like, if you go back and listen to Mary Baraka and go listen to the poem Black Art, he's making fun of poets and their really cliche forms
Right.
and the way they catering to say the thing that everybody wants to hear, and that's back in. How year was that? Like 68? So that's not new.
Okay.
It's just there's always a different way and a niche in which people are the cliche poet.
Right.
So, can you guys break down the difference, if there is one, between spoken word artists and poets?
Good question.
Absolutely.
Great question.
Good question.
I definitely think a spoken word artist can be a poet, right?
Okay.
So I think poetry is actually like the craft of language. I think using certain like devices, you know what I mean? So, using metaphors, using similes,
Double entendre.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I feel like a true poet, like I should be able to look at your stuff on paper and read it and be astounded. And if I hear you say it,
It's like reading a book and watching a movie.
Which
Right.
is a beautiful part about the house.
Is this like what the movie is doing, right?
yeah,
Is it,
right. And I think the spoken word part of it is more focused on just the performance, right?
Right.
So you have some people who have a great stage presence in delivery, but do they know how to craft poetry?
Okay.
Is questionable. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So sometimes I feel like not all spoken word artists are poets, and not all poets are spoken word artists.
Okay.
But you have some who can do both.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's sometimes people only see one spectrum, and they say this is poetry or this is poetry, and there is a broad spectrum, I think, of what's possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I definitely think that like to Black, he's a poet and a spoken word artist because he knows how to craft his words on the page, and then he knows how to stand up and deliver them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Put feeling in certain words.
Yeah.
I would be a terrible poet. Literally, because I'm I'm one of those people that would look. This is my idea. This is my idea of poetry. Bear with me. I'm gonna give y'all about 5 seconds. Okay.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Roses.
The world. What is the world? The world is the world. Wouldn't you agree? That's my poetry.
no, that's
my poetry.
I mean,
that was actually pretty good.
Was that good?
I mean,
listen.
for a spoken word artist, yes.
I was into it. I'm like,
Yeah.
tell me about that.
See,
What's next?
But see, I didn't have any more. That's all I had. So I would stay on the world for a long time. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's my idea of poetry. You know? So I probably would be a good poet because they would get tired of me dancing around the world. You know what I'm saying? But some people will keep you, and I've seen poetry where some people will keep you tuned in the entire time till the end, and some people even cry after because it means it's that deep.
Right.
So have you guys experienced that in the crowd where it just you got done doing some poetry and somebody just busted out like?
You know what?
It's like church.
Yeah, I mean, you know
Amen.
what? Like, it's actually funny because I was doing a show a couple of weeks ago. And, and sometimes, like, you'll do shows and, people be like, oh, you're dope, da-da-da. But I noticed that instead of people telling me, that I was dope, people were saying thank you. And I thought about that. And I thought, it was more than just me being good at what I did. I gave them an experience.
Okay.
So that to me is actually, that holds more weight for me. That means that I gave you something valuable.
Right.
So it was more than just you telling me that I'm dope, right? It was like I did something for you. I moved something in you. And that is the best compliment as an artist, as a poet, that I mean, because it was like a couple people who were just like, thank you. And I was like, wow, like that's, you know what
Thank you for listening.
Right. I'm just like, that's like, you know what I mean? Like that's like really something. Right. Like when you're able to get that.
Okay.
So yeah.
What is your experience with that? You know, how do you engage? I mean, like not how you engage the crowd, but what do you feel? What do you get after your poetry? Is it you know, does it make you feel better, or are you just a poet that y'all can take it how y'all want it? You know.
Probably more the latter. I mean, it depends on the audience, man. Also, like, so there are some audiences where people don't really know how to react.
Okay.
You know, you might have. I got this poem called "White Lives Matter," and I'm playing.
Can you do that this evening?
I need to hear that tonight.
Yeah, man.
I need to hear that on tonight.
I don't know if I'm gonna do that one tonight because that's like a whole character, right? So I have to turn into a white guy and this voice.
That's okay.
Yeah, like I don't know if I'm there. We'll see. But when I do that, like I'm clowning. I'm clowning a particular ideal.
Okay.
You know, I'm going for the white folks that think they're oppressed because it's Black History Month, and you know, I'm really taking
feeling victimized.
Yeah, I'm really just tearing that idea apart. But I'm playing it as opposed to talking about it from the outside. I become that idea to deconstruct it.
And we're talking about that, but let's talk about that for a little bit. You know, what do you think it is that some people of Caucasian descent are offended by things like Black History Month, or, you know, they just get tired of hearing it, tired of seeing it? What do you think that is in your perspective?
If your whole experience has never been forced to face something, and then all of a sudden you have to face something that contradicts the entirety of who you think you are, then you're going to struggle with that.
Right.
And that's with anybody, right?
Right.
You know, I mean, if anyone learns that they are not what they thought they were after 20, 30 years, and something's telling them that they come from a darker place than what they ever believed, and they're going to struggle with that. It doesn't mean that we should, you know, be a shoulder to cry on for them all the time or anything. But I'm saying, like, you're confronting them with information and ideas that a lot of them have either pushed out of their space or just never had in their space. Right,
because some people are just like, get over it. You guys,
but they don't
stop talking about it.
They don't even know what to get over, right? They've never even read up on what we should be getting over, what we're experiencing in the first place. So,
some are just here now, like they see what's happening now and they don't understand. But
I have no sense of,
you know, I encourage everybody to go visit history, right? Go deeper than what you know and what you see, because oftentimes you'll find that there's a real root. Right. And some people get lost in the here and now as opposed to going back. So like the dude, you know, I hate to bring this subject up, but the Cleveland thing that happened, it's almost like you know the surface of it, but what led to that? Really happened, right? Well, you know, my thing was like, what led to that? Yeah. I mean, like, that's crazy. Yeah. You know, for somebody to just snap like that, it's got to be deeper.
Right.
Yeah, everything is. We always get caught up in the moment that is sensationalized. Like police brutality is the part where somebody gets killed. That's the part everybody is like, oh my God, this is terrible, and it is.
Right.
But like so much had to take place
before that
to even create that interaction in the first place.
Right.
Like, there had to be a neighborhood that was impoverished, and there had to be property taxes. That is law that typically doesn't give much money to these neighborhoods, which gives them bad education. People go to crime, and therefore the police are sent there to be a heavy presence and be militarized and watch these people. And you start seeing that these poor people and these poor people of color and Black people as enemies. And after all that happens, of course, one day a cop is going to kill a brother or a sister. Like, but all of that happened before we ever saw that video. Right. So but people just think about the video, and it's like, there's so much that happened and created that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're in a Band-Aid society where now it's time to patch up all the wounds, and it's like, wait, the wound is still hurting. The wound is still healing. It's you can't, you know, you just can't cover it up, patch it up. You know, so obviously, you know, more officers, and we have a great officer that comes on, Officer Cox. Shout out to Officer Cox. He comes on and kicks us knowledge on, you know, what's going on in the police world, man, and we appreciate him for that. But you know, he's also trapped in a society where, you know, it's time to patch up the the community, what can we do, and oftentimes it's more police, and it's like, that's not the answer. It's like, yes, that brings a presence, but the underlying, situation is still, it's still there. So, it gets into education and, and finding out how to get people out of poverty, so it just, I can go on and on about that. But now we're in the Band-Aid society where now we got to try and patch it up as opposed to fixing the root.
Because people, to piggyback off of what, you guys are saying, I think, a lot of it, man, is just fear. Once we get more educated on our history, man, and everything, when we talk about white people, I personally think that they get kind of nervous the more we find out about our past. So that's why a lot of them say, oh,
I would be nervous too if I was them.
Yeah, well, they say, well, you know what, that wasn't you, back then. That was somebody else. You don't need to go in depth and study that. That had nothing to do with you. And I've had these conversations, so I would say things like this. Okay, so let's say if you have a great grandfather, right, that was a millionaire, and he died, and he passed his wealth down from generation to generation. Now it hits you. Should you take that wealth? And then they just, and then they just freeze up. And I'm like, look, you can't take the good, but then leave the bad out.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Because you had nothing to do with that wealth, but it was passed down to you from generation to generation. So you inherited, and that's the same thing with us. We inherited
everything.
What happened. And I just think one of the reasons why me and Ray created this platform, and we are going to have a segment on that, is I think blacks and whites are so afraid to sit down and talk about dialogue, why they have issues with each other. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like, like we don't want to talk. So now you have two types of people that are just on edge with each other. Like, whether it's fear or whether it's just pure hate.
Absolutely.
So,
a lot of good folks out there, but the underlying tension is still there because of the policies and all the other things that are still in place. So, it's going to take everybody to come together and start having a lot of dialogue. And what you guys do is very important to this community, because it's just not black poets. It's poets from all different backgrounds, and poetry to me is like the raw and uncut version of yourself, of like emotion. Raw and uncut version of a human experience in emotion. You know what I'm saying? Because you're giving it from your perspective, and it's something that a lot of other people feel. Right. And I'm hoping this evening that we can hear some of that, some of that. So, Ebony, do you have any questions?
Do you think it's the artist's responsibility when we have issues and things going on in the world and people that don't have knowledge of our history, is it an artist's responsibility to then make people conscious?
Right, because words are power. Yeah. That's important.
To go delve back in history, that's an old debate between Du Bois and Claude McKay, I believe, about whether the artists have a responsibility or not, or whether black artists should just be artists, and whatever that is.
Right.
If you're talking about love, whatever you just do, or you have a responsibility to speak on those issues. And I don't know. I always go back and forth on that. I've had this debate with people. I think I always say on one level, I don't want people who don't necessarily know what they're talking about speaking for us, and we see that with a lot of black celebrities, or just celebrities in general, right, who don't really know what they're speaking about on the issue
all the time.
But people are pushing them to say something, but they don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
So I would prefer if you just cut a check and gave Manon a stage to speak on. She knows what she's talking about, right?
Absolutely.
So I think it's contextual. You have to know what your abilities are. If you're not that type of artist and you don't really delve in that area, then there are other ways to create consciousness if you care about those matters. Maybe writing a poem or doing a song isn't for you.
Right.
There's a trendiness now to be and a lot of times I think kill the voices of people who do and who have been doing it.
Because they have such a huge following. And I like Floyd Mayweather, but one of the things that he got wrong was that he didn't realize that All Lives Matter was a response to Black Lives Matter.
He gets on Floyd, boy.
I like Floyd, but speaking on what you said, there's a lot of people who speak in the context and not understand the underlying issues. So Floyd he's got money. He's probably not watching TV like we are. He's probably not feeling the same thing. Doesn't care much. But then he gets on Facebook and says, all lives matter. And it's like, dude, we know that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But what he didn't realize was that all lives matter was considered a hate group. So when people got on his top, he didn't understand why. So now he's on defense. But once you understand why people were mad about that, because it was a response to Black Lives Matter, which means that it didn't mean it all. It didn't mean that all lives didn't matter.
It wasn't really about that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
You gotta do your research, man.
Right, you gotta do your research.
And I think that's like as a artist, I tell artists all the time, be a scholar about your shit, whatever you're talking about. And I don't just have to be like Black people. It can be whatever you speak on. You're speaking on feminism.
Know what you're talking about.
If you're even just speaking on your own life, you should be a scholar on your own life. You should understand that. Like you should. That way, when you're in this type of context, when you're talking in an interview, you sound articulate.
Right.
We understand where your art comes from versus, I don't really know, you know what I'm saying? I don't know where this came from. Like, you should be a scholar about whatever you're speaking about. When I write, I read. Sometimes I'll spend months just reading on something before I write anything.
Wow.
I really want to make sure.
Take notes on that.
I really want to make sure that I know what I'm speaking on. And I can, but I also don't necessarily want the poem to sound like an essay or dissertation. You still want to be creative. You still want to make sure that it's enjoyable and people listen to it or people want to read it. But you want to be influenced by these larger ideas. Like that White Lives Matter poem I was talking about. Like, in order to get in character, I had to watch a bunch of like Nazi videos on Instagram, but on YouTube. I watched Fox News interviews. I watched Trump. I watched all these characters that really embody what I think that idea or what that person is. Right. And then I read the counters to... You got into the experience. Right. You became the experience. And I understood, ironically, where that person comes from. Right. More so by writing that. That's big. Versus if I would have just maybe been like, this is nonsense. I write from the outside of it. Like, I understand the ideas that embody that person. Right.
So now which gave you a better perspective.
Of where they come from. Right. Because a lot of those people like, and I understand the victimized. You know, so if you didn't have anything to do with that, and you're living today, but people are angry at you because of your nationality, you're gonna get on the fence about that. You're gonna get on the defense. You know, you're not gonna want to marry into what's going on in that topic today. So the tension is high. Between Caucasian and Black people, obviously, but. If you're Caucasian, there's a lot of Caucasian people that understand. Shout out to everybody that that did their research, that kind of understand and have had those experiences. But there's still a lot of people out there that have never had those experiences, don't want to have those experiences, and continue to watch things like Fox News. So
and it's not just with racism. People are ignorant on a lot of things. Like if you see a domestic violence situation, and people are like, why doesn't she leave? Right, and you don't really get how domestic violence functions, and it's not that easy for the victim. And often they're financially tied to the person that's abusing them.
There's more to it, kids, family,
and that's usually the highest threat where they might die. And but if you don't know anything about domestic violence, then you just like, well, she just keeps going back to him.
Exactly.
I don't understand. Well, then look it up. Like So I'm just saying, like, people speak on things, and it happens. And we were talking about whack poets. You have poets who get up and they don't do any research, and they're on stage, and you can tell in their poem if you know the subject matter, they ain't doing any research. Like, you can tell, like they might have a great delivery, like the world or whatever, but like they don't actually understand the world. Right. Like,
Exactly.
They have no concept of it. So
the world,
and people will get caught up in the world, and everybody will be like,
right.
Sometimes I'll be
like, what did he just say? What did you just say? Like,
he don't know what he just said.
Right. He don't know what he just said.
And I feel like a snob because I be in the back like, I don't know if I want to clap for that.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So, you have any more questions, Ebony?
I did.
Okay.
And let me ask you this first. Have you ever had a situation where you wrote something just too heavy, dropped too much of a bomb on the audience, and you're like, I wonder how they felt that, because I was feeling like I kind of went either it was just too over the head, or because like you said, when you get scholarly, you can get a little bit
Missing
too
people.
essay, and then it's like, but I know that comes with knowing your audience and everything like that. But at the same time, like for example, I was at a church one day as not my element, and I was at a church doing a real Black Power type piece, and I walked off the stage like, okay, I want to
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't get no amen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like, and I think like sometimes it's like it's like you go into situations kind of like knowing like the context of the people that you're dealing with. And as a poet, it's like, you have your own integrity to yourself. You know what I mean? To speak like the truth. You know what I mean? But it's like you go certain places and like, dang, you know what I mean? Like it's, like it's going to be hard on me. And, and there's times, like when I've been like in situations like where I've been like, should I do this piece? You know what I mean? Like, should I do this poem? And I'm second guessing like myself. But then after doing it, I've actually been surprised, like, by the reception, you know what I mean? And sometimes, and sometimes people may not come like up to you like right away and be like, but they'll slide like in your inbox, and be like, yo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right,
some people love what you do,
Right.
but then you'll hear from them like a week later. Yo,
Right.
I remember seeing you the other night. That was dope.
Changed my life.
Could have told me that night.
Right.
Do y'all have a Dr. Seuss piece?
I think Too Black is a professional at it though. He just just
when he told me 7 years, when he told me he took 7 years perfecting his craft, that told me a lot about him.
Yeah.
I mean, because some people don't understand that that's necessary. Like they just see you now, like, man, he's great, but they don't understand the work and the
whole process and
and it's work. Like and that's the thing. I'm glad that y'all doing National Poetry Month because. People need to respect it. You know what I mean? Like, put some respect on it. Like, this is not. No,
some
seriously.
respect on it.
Like, I mean, like, it's real
y'all
work.
finish or y'all done?
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like if you are a true poet, you have to live the experience. Like, you live it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, living is the most important thing. And then the writing comes out of your transactional living experiences. You know what I mean? So the living is really the hardest part. The writing, you know what I mean? That's kind of secondary, but it's like, it takes all, I mean, it involves all of your elements. You know what I mean? Like, it involves your intellect, it involves your spirit. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it involves all of you when you sit there and you craft a piece. And some people just think, you know what I mean, that it's just, that it's just nothing. And I mean, like, and I remember there was a friend, and she was telling me, she said, unfortunately, people look at you like cheap entertainment. And that just hurt me so bad.
That's real though.
I mean, that hurt my heart. I was just like, because I know what I go through. You know what I mean? Like I know the kind of effort. Like there's times when I'm sitting on pieces. You know what I mean? For months, forever. That I don't want to put them out yet because they're not just right. I still got to twerk and craft and change and learn some more stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is not a game. You know what I mean? Like this is what I do. So you know what I mean? Like for people to not respect it is really, I mean, it's just really a blow. You know what I mean? And I mean, and it's an insult to the gift that we have, to the history of poetry. You know what I mean? To all of the great poets and sages that came before us. You know what I mean? I mean, people don't realize that poets were more important than politicians. You know what I mean? Like if we're looking at, like historically, people would gather, you know what I mean? Like, like if you talk about like Rome, like people would gather in the town circle and listen to poets. You know what I mean? Poets were regarded as being like prophetic. You know what I mean? Like they were like up there. You know what I mean? Like, you mentioned Khalil Gibran. You know what I mean? Like he was one of those people that literally talk about like paparazzi. I mean, people would follow him from town to town just to listen to his words.
I mean, they call that man the prophet. Man.
You know what I mean? Yes, that's why he was called the prophet. So when you know what I mean, so you know what I mean. So when people just disrespect poetry, like you know what I mean, like it's just something we can just do like real quick and get up and and just have a couple snaps and that's it. they're not really understanding.
Right.
And so, you know what I mean? And so shout out, to y'all, just like for creating this platform
We
where
appreciate
we can,
that.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can really come in and
we were talking before the show had aired about top rappers, and all the greats and everything. And I was just thinking as you were saying that we don't look at poetry the same way when rap evolved from poetry.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like you said, that respect. And I can't imagine. Well, actually, if you listen to some of the stuff out today, what they call it mumble rap and all that kind of stuff, they're not sitting on bars.
I hope y'all don't start doing
sitting on
that.
bars for months and coming back to it and researching and doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just there,
Yeah.
Do y'all have a if you go into a poetry spot and you kind of hear what poetry is being said, does that change which piece you do? Like if you feel like maybe I got to dumb this down a little bit. I ain't got I might have to bring my Dr. Seuss piece out. You know what I'm saying? Hat in the cat. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people understand that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think
You might have to bring in a Dr. Seuss piece.
I think it's a line you have to walk between. Like that's what I was saying earlier. You don't want your poem to sound too much like a dissertation or an essay. I don't think that's good poetry necessarily, right? I think you should be able. I think if you're a good writer, you should be able to take any subject that's up here and bring it right here. Like Amir Baraka used to say, that's a poet. He was one of the founders of the Black Arts Movement. He would say, if you take your poem and you go up to the bum that's getting food out of the garbage, and you spit your poem to him, and after the first 10 seconds he doesn't hit you, tell you to get out of here, then he's like, you might have a thing to do in his career. Like you might work because if you reach him, then you more likely to reach anybody else, right? So a lot of times we get caught up in trying to just say our poems. And this even happens in hip hop. You want to have the bars that only like people who are really listening like that catch. But then the rest of the audience that isn't really into bars like that doesn't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah,
So you got all these deep metaphors.
And they got beats behind it. So sometimes you can just like the beat and you don't know what the hell they're saying.
You don't know what they say.
So it's important to be able to have something that you can have bars and appeal to that, but you also can tell a story that I can follow and understand and I can relate to, and all of those things still matter. So if you have poems like that, you can go in front of any audience and then you can tell your story, and people can coherently follow it. You can do it, because I've done audiences where one time I was at this one school, and it's hard to believe it was in college. Like, this was the most ratchet audience I ever. This is an open mic, but like they was playing this is like before mumble rap, but they were playing all of the ratchet shit, like everything that you could think of. The DJ was playing it before every poet. Every poet that got up there, people were talking. There was like people in the middle who actually wanted to listen. It was like this auditorium. Everybody around was like all these Chicago cats. Everybody around in the balconies were just talking. They were popping. They were twerking. All of this was happening. So when you go on stage, you can be as intellectual as you want, but you got to figure out how to get their attention. So that poem I was talking about with Pizza Hut, that poem gets people's attention quick. So it's about me delivering pizzas, but people like, oh, he's talking about college, he's talking about school. Cool. Now, once I got your attention, then my more essay-esque poems, I can start slipping those
Break them open,
so you have to know how to attack it. Or I had a show last month and it was like all white audience. So it was like, I have this poem on education, like my degree was my girl, and we had a bad relationship. But I know most people in that room could relate to going to college and feel like it didn't live up to what they thought it would be. So I know if I can hook them with that, then like, okay, now if they think I'm a good poet, then they're more so willing to listen to something that maybe will be more offensive.
There you go.
And then other times I might just come straight in and just hit them over the head, whatever, because I don't care. It just depends on how I'm feeling, But it's like, but you got to know how, and that's where, like, we're talking about being a poet and spoken word artist, but like you are an entertainer to some extent. Like we can become purists in the craft, but you're still standing in front of people. Like, if you're going to perform. Now, if you're going to write, that's different. But you're still standing in front of people who are more likely paid to be here. So they want to hear something that's interesting. So your poem that goes deep into the intersections of toxic masculinity and, gender bias. And if you can't relate to the audience, then
Yeah. You should be able to gauge it. And this is in comedy, but I went to an event and Eddie Griffin was talking. I mean, he was one of the comedians, with a couple of other people, and I was thinking like, oh man, Eddie Griffin got to touch some people. And, and we had it was
he's highly
it's for
intelligent.
the company I work for, and we had different Caucasians, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great, But Eddie Griffin started talking. I said, oh, shit. He went for the jugular. You know what I'm saying? So some people you just be like. Hope y'all all right, because they, and it got real quiet. You can see their face kind of change. It went from comedy to talking about me.
Right.
But so I mean, do you guys get that? You go in and you may, whether it's offensive or not. How do you do that? How do you take that? Do you care if you offend people, or you go in and if has anybody ever been offended by a piece that you wrote?
All the time. I mean, you're not
doing your job if you ain't offending nobody.
Nah, and I mean, and still there needs to be a line. Cause I mean, there's different types of offensiveness, right? I mean, if I'm just going and talking about beating up women, that's offensive. But I don't really think that's making a point. Like that's just bad for me, right? Versus if I'm talking about something that is more so challenging your way of thinking, I think that type of offensive is what I'm trying to go for.
Right.
So there are always people who are offended. I've had people literally get up front row, walk out. I've had people complain. I remember one show I was doing in Cali one time. I think I used the N-word too much for them. It was a bunch of black folks, but it was the older black people that didn't hear it. Yeah. So they told me to stop saying it. And then I've had some school literally say like, we can't book you because you are too black. Literally, I've had there's a promoter. There's a promoter
live up to your name.
who
Right.
There's a promoter.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's a promoter who will remain unnamed, but I don't even get shows with that particular person anymore because there was a time where I did a poem and I think he was worried it was gonna scare the clientele. It didn't. They actually gave me love and everything. But I think he was worried that he wouldn't have that connection.
Right. You're gonna smash him.
But I'm not knocking him because if that's his business. If he doesn't want anybody to mess with his brand, that's fine. I don't have to be there.
Right.
I'm not like bitter about it anymore. I used to be, but it's like that's his brand. But but as an artist, we're talking about artists and activism. Like you want to walk that line. Sometimes people aren't going to want you. I try to let you know up front. I'm black, so it's not really any. Yeah,
and you would rather them let you know up front than not. You know what I'm saying? Than to find out. So
I don't expect to. I don't expect every audience to like me. I think I can talk to anybody. I think I know it well enough. But I don't. Some audiences aren't going to want to deal with you. And sometimes it's not even because of what you say. Sometimes it can be because they just don't like black people. They don't like women. They don't like poets.
They don't like men.
They just don't like you for whatever. So you're just offensive by existing. So
that's unfortunate.
You just gotta live with it.
All you gotta do is just reach one. And just build from there. That's it.
And that's going back to the rapper and poet comparison. It's kind of like, I wouldn't say Russian roulette, but it's kind of the difference between a rapper and a poet is like, what you're coming out to present. The audience for any other lyrical, I guess, format, singing, rapping, they know what their top 5 tracks is for that artist. So they're already primed and ready to hear what they want to hear versus a poet. It's like, I've already selected it for you.
Right.
So it's up to them now to receive it. And, the reception is up, at that point, is up to the artist, which makes it a little bit more challenging, I guess. Which y'all do very well, because I mean, I've seen both of y'all perform. When I first saw Two Black, I didn't know what to think. I mean, I thought it was great. I thought it was real dope. And I was like, God, this dude has a lot of confidence. You did, it wasn't one of your pieces. I know you were shivering. That's all I know. You were like shivering.
That was Amiri Baraka's dope.
Yes, dope. And I was like, this brother has a lot of confidence to say this poem. And if you were to hear the poem, you would be like, I couldn't do that on stage. I'm not ready for that yet because I don't have enough confidence to play out the roles, you know,
right.
or
Get into character.
right, and to get into character, which is what he did. And I was like a little uncomfortable. I was like, man, I was thinking, what is the audience going to think for him? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they loved him, you know, because that confidence in that delivery, you chose the track. And they received it because of that delivery. So, yeah. And then I had another question about poetry as a career in comparison to other artists, you know, because you don't really hear, you got Saul Williams. I don't know if poetry is necessarily like his breadwinner, and some of the other, I guess, I don't want to say big artists, because I think everybody's, you know, big. If you dope, you dope, whether you're national or local. But it just seems like it's difficult for a poet to be a poet by, you know, for it to be a career and a breadwinner.
It used to be big when they used to have Def Jam Poet and all that. You know, they used to have those big circuits.
That opened a pretty big market up. Well, relatively.
Because people started paying attention to it. Like, it was a big deal. Like, championships and everything. You know, like, real.
Yeah, it goes on HBO. I mean, did you want to take that one?
Well, I mean, Too Black is really well traveled.
So, yeah, we're gonna talk about Africa now.
Yeah. Because I know, you know, you did your tour, so I want to hear, you know, kind of like from your like perspective, like what that's like, kind of being outside of Indiana.
I mean, it's
and trying to make like a living.
There was to just break down the market of it all. Like with poetry, there's different factions. There's slam poetry. There's just the open mic.
Explain the slam poetry.
Slam poetry is actually a competition for people who don't know.
Okay.
So you go up and you get 1 through 10. You give 5. Usually there's like either 3 to 5 judges in the audience.
Okay.
And you know they all have a card and they give you a 10.
Oh, okay.
And it's like round by round, and whoever ranks the highest at the end wins the slam. And there's a lot of resources that have been thrown into slam poetry. So that's a career that a lot of people chase. Sometimes even the reward at the end of a slam is $1,000, $2,000, scholarship or some type of you know, fund that you can pull from. You can have a whole program. And so there's a lot of money that's been put into that area. Right. Then there's like the chitlin circuit out of poetry, where you're just doing like features. Like features are, you're the feature poet at an open mic. Okay. And sometimes you can be a feature poet at a slam. I mean, it can change up, but that doesn't move as much as it used to. But like we were talking about after Def Poetry Jam, all these open mics popped off, and there was like open mic in all these big cities. Love Jones. So there was like open mic in cities like every day. And you could go, and you were getting money. And I did this. You're just getting money sometimes out of a tip jar. And everybody in the audience puts $3 in, $2, 50 cents, and whatever you make at the end, plus whatever CDs or books you sell. And you go on to the next show, and that's a rough life, Because some shows people are stingy. Some you don't have a set amount. So
they don't make enough money to pay you.
You gotta go in and give your soul. You might make. I've had shows. I make $25. Okay. And you do a whole 30-minute set. You make $25, $12, $30. And then some shows are the host does well. You'll make hundreds of dollars, but you don't know. And you learn when you get into a city. This open mic is where you go if you want to make your money. This open mic is for the lyricists, but you don't make that much money. Or they pay $50 for their feature. They pay $100 for their feature, or whatever. So you have to start, if you want to live off of it, you have to do the math.
Strategic.
On how many what shows pay, and then sometimes we're talking about catering to the audience. So then you have to decide, do I want to start writing poems that more so just relate to this audience so I can get my money up? And some poets do that. Like, so you write the poems that are really about like heartache relationships that women go through. Like those poems, there's a lot of people that enjoy those type of poems. You know? So you can get because you can play on heartbreak. You know, or so you can really get a big following off of that. Or you can be the poet that talks about race and stuff or whatever, and you form your niche. Then there's like the level of colleges and universities and like foundations and museums, and then you just kind of getting in wherever you can, and those usually have bigger budgets, so you can make a stack on stage for half an hour.
Wow. 30 minutes,
Wow.
No,
half an hour.
I mean, I can say that like I've been blessed just just kind of like in the couple of years that I've been doing it, going from just doing like open mics, to just, now being hired by like organizations, you know what I mean?
Right.
With budgets.
Budgets that value your work, you know what I mean? And so it's just like, oh, wow, like you actually gonna pay me to just get up here.
What kind of institutions or places will pull you guys in? Schools?
I mean, I
colleges?
just performed for 2 weeks ago. I did a conference. There was about 400 people. And it was for the Fair Housing Center of Central Indiana.
Okay.
And and so they hired me as an organization to come, and perform for their conference. You know. So, so you can, so like that, schools, I'm doing something for, the Universal Unitarian Church of Indianapolis.
Oh, okay.
So I'm doing, like something like for them, next month, where they've hired me to come in. So so a lot of organizations, like he said, with budgets, what I mean? Like as you just keep doing it and people see the value of your work, they are willing to actually spend some money to have you come in. You know what I mean? And if you can keep doing that,
you can live off it, or it's a good supplementary income, if nothing else. And but so there's different levels to it. I mean, and then the challenges of that again are staying true to your art while being in front of different audiences.
Keeping your passion.
Because I mean, I went through a spell. I had to force myself to go to open mic. So I was like, yo, Black, you're getting bougie. Because I'll be going to these schools and I'm getting flown out and paid to do that. And I'm like, sometimes you just got to go to a local open mic and just enjoy that. Make sure you remember where you came from. Right. You used to have to pay
the love of it.
Yeah.
For the love of it.
Because when you used to have to pay, most of us, we pay to perform. You paid $5 to get on the list.
Wow.
To do your poem.
Right.
And then all of a sudden somebody's giving you $500, $1,000, $2,000 to do 30 minutes or 15.
You be looking at it like $5.
Yeah.
Y'all should be paying me $30.
Okay.
So you gotta remember, and you don't have to do that, but it's important to remember that so you don't get so out of touch, because that's the thing, and this happens with artists in general, we get swept up by the people that have the budgets, and that's the only people we talk to. But we claim we're speaking for our community, right? We're never actually speaking.
Right. That's a good point,
to our
man.
Community,
That's a
good point.
Stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
And I can remember I used to do music, and I can remember just doing. I remember I went to like a church gathering to do do a song, and I was just happy to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't care if anybody showed up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even supposed to be doing it at church compared to, for what music I was doing, but I was just happy to perform. And I still remember that. And I just remember you got to have a love and a passion for it. Like the money part of it is a bonus, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you got to take it serious. I mean, if you really love doing it, then it's going to show, and you'll do it for free if the opportunity presented itself. But as you become more professional and start traveling, and that's when it needs to make sense, because if you got to drive to Louisiana, you know what I'm saying, to do something, you want to at least get your gas money, right? You know what I'm saying?
Because you got to, I had those, I done been through all of those things, from hotels to sleeping on the floor. Yeah. And those are two different experiences. So you're like, okay, I'm going to make a few hundred, but sometimes it's like, I'm just going to go to the city so I can. And exposure is like a buzzword in the poetry world, but you get exposure. So I'm gonna go to New York, and I might not make anything. I might just break even at best. But I would perform in New York on my resume. So then I can use that as a way to get to the next place and get paid. Or sometimes you go to cities and the host is like real protective of their show, and they won't book you as a feature because you're not from there. So you have to perform for free in their city, and then they're like, all right, I like you, and they bring you back.
Okay.
And then, but that could be all the way in LA somewhere. So it's it's $300, $400 just to fly there. So you gotta, if you know it's $400 to get there, if you don't have an aunt and uncle to stay with, then you gotta pay for housing. More than likely, you don't want to do that, so you find the friends. You gotta sleep on their couch.
Food, rental cars.
All of that. So like a school will pay you enough money where that's not really that big of a deal. That's handled. Plus you get a check. But if you're going to these open mics, sometimes You know, that's why some artists they'll teach while they're out somewhere, or they'll run a workshop, or they just got books to sell, and it's a whole hustle. Like you're an entire entrepreneur. You're not just an artist if you want to really survive in doing it. Like you have to. How do you get shows? How do you get in contact with people? There's not like a basic website you go to where every open mic is listed.
Yeah, I mean, you got to know people. You
got to build a network. You got to know, like, I have to know all the organizations, the different schools, how to stay in frequent contact with them as the school year rolls over, how to get in somebody's budget for the next year. And sometimes that can become so taxing that you don't want to write. You know?
You're just handling the business.
Right. You got enough content already. Now you just structuring it. You know,
and you may make decent money, but let's say you don't make enough to have an assistant, so you have to be your own manager, your own assistant, and you got to write, and you got to make sure you're in the right place. And sometimes it's like you learn, like, when you go to these organizations, you're not sometimes just being asked to speak on, just do poetry anymore. Like, they want you to actually know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Like, you got to be able to speak on the subject. So now you got to read up on that. Now you have
create
you have to be almost a lecturer. An educator. So you're no longer just a poet.
We need you to talk about the apartheid.
And that actually happened. Like, I actually had to do that after I came back from South Africa, I had to do a whole workshop in Oregon State on that, and the anti-apartheid movement and all of what happened over there. So I had to do a workshop in the afternoon, and then I had to do the show, the keynote in the evening. So it's like,
so you had to like research and do all that.
Yeah, I was up. I had to read an entire archive of newspaper articles from like the early '80s at this university, because I had to teach something in the archivist institute on campus.
We need you to quote the.
Now that is professional. You're a professional. If they say, "Hey, we want you to come and talk on alligators,"
we need you to quote Nelson Mandela post prison.
Tricky stuff. You become more than just a poet.
You become so many things.
You gotta. That's why I say, if you're a scholar about your shit, it can make you some money, because people will see you as somebody that has diversity and has range.
That's truly an art. What is that guy's name?
Range is important, man.
He's like big on Facebook right now, and he does like
Prince. ERA or something.
He's pretty good.
He does a lot of the
Prince EA
Prince EA. He does a lot of. He does a lot of. He did the fishbowl analogy poem with the fishbowl and all the. Basically, it was on equality, equity versus equality, and then he did.
Some on education.
He did one on education, but he is always.
He's turned it. He's leveraged poetry and like turned it into a semi movie. So he's got a team of videographers, and basically what he's saying is like a movie with it. And now he's so big, like, you know, he just got big just off of that.
I'm not sure if I've heard of him, but
and he's like he's having, like you had said in your bio, you have conversations, and that's basically what he's like, having conversations to the audience, to the person, you know, who's watching. And like Ray said, it's
powerful.
It's like a lot of different angles that he comes from. A lot of it is motivation. The only one I didn't like, I think he did something like "We Are Not Black or White" or something like that.
Oh, I know you're talking about. That wasn't a good introduction for me.
I didn't like that one. I was like, he didn't get me with that.
Because that's another thing. Is the viral thing, right? So before we talk about that poetry jam and all that, that was kind of how you got. If you wanted to get on more of a mainstream stage, you went through that. But now it's like, okay, can you make your poem go viral? And you can be a dope poet to everybody that knows you, but if your poem goes viral and all of a sudden your page goes from 500 to 30,000 likes or something, just because that one poem went viral, now all of a sudden you're this big superstar. But you technically, you know, maybe you didn't really pay your dues. You know, maybe you just had
pressure there.
Maybe you just had because you got to deliver again.
So now
when's the next one coming?
Right.
And there are some poets like Saul Williams, who's like the Michael Jordan of spoken word. You know, his first poem, he went in, he wrote it on paper. He goes in. This is in Brooklyn. He performs it. It's so amazing. He quits his job after that and performs poetry. But he was just he's an anomaly. He's actually that good.
Like he's that dude. Like he's my favorite spoken word poet.
Some people are just born with the gift, man. You know what I'm saying? Like in everything. You look at like sports. You like LeBron is like inhuman. You know what I'm saying? You look at he's big, he's fast.
How does his name come up in this?
Let me write that down.
I mean, listen. I can tolerate Floyd Mayweather, but how does LeBron come up in this?
Okay, Michael Jordan. You know, let's use Michael Jordan. So I mean, you look at people like, man, they good. These guys can do everything. He can play defense. He can run down the court. He can dunk. He just, you know, they can't block a shot. You just see people, and they're just good at what they do. They've truly found their gift. And I appreciate that because I think that everybody has a gift. Yeah. It's all about finding it. And sometimes it takes you years to find it. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's always been with you, but you don't find out maybe until you're an adult that, hey, maybe I should have been doing this my entire life.
Right. Or some people know their gift, but they're just afraid to tap into it. You know what I'm saying?
That's a big one, too.
Yeah, I mean, like, I understand why a poet, my favorite poet, I don't know if she's listening, one of my favorites, my homegirl, Shinzira, she works at a good job, you know. She doesn't really come out anymore like that. Like, she's one of the best poets I've ever heard. Like, and I've been a lot of places, but she's one of the best I've ever heard. Right. And she's like, yo, I wanna know I can eat at the end of the day. Right. And she knows it's a struggle if you do it for a living, so she doesn't do it. So I completely understand why some poets they just do it. They do it,
and that's understandable.
Yeah. And there's no.
Yeah, sometimes it's just not where you live at, and if you got kids and family, sometimes it's just not. It doesn't work for you. But at some point, you know, when you jump off that ledge and you know and try it, you're gonna hit the ground. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get scathed, but you might come out shining. But a lot aren't willing to take that risk.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it's a risk because there'll be days. Which we were quoting Jay before the show came on. You know, for precipitation, we stack chips. Hardly. You know, it's like there are days when you got rainy days, or you're not getting the shows or whatever, so you gotta stack the days you are getting shows. Right. You can't be too crazy with it. Right. Because you gotta have that money when shows get canceled, or you just can't get booked like that. You gotta be ready for that. Right. You gotta be thinking 6 to 12 months in advance.
Right. Absolutely.
Like that's a whole different mindset, and and it's not much stability to it unless you can really create your niche. So I understand. Even though I've chosen to do it, why some people don't. And I don't have no problem, you know, picking up a side hustle or anything. Because I think it's good to have multiple streams of income regardless of what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, so it's like, but that's another thing, like learning just business. How do you do taxes? Like I just did my taxes
1099.
Yeah, I had the deadline is today.
I had a bunch. Yeah, exactly. I had 1099. You gotta have the tax write off. You gotta write off all these deductions.
Absolutely.
You gotta keep expense accounts. I gotta go through all my
keep all your receipts.
Yeah, I gotta just in case I get audited. Right. I gotta make sure that I don't want to say that on the air, but I gotta make sure that
everything is up to par. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I gotta. So that's like there's that part of it, and then you still we come back to the beginning of the conversation. You still gotta care about the art. At least I try to, and you still have to care about the people that you represent.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a real. You can make a whole film on it, because it's like it's like an underground market. Right. Like you were saying, people feel like it's cheap entertainment. Right. Yeah. Some places like, all right, we're just gonna have an open mic, and they think of it like a karaoke or something. Right. You know, it's just a way to get people in the door.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we can do this more often. You know what I'm saying? We might be trying to do this maybe once a month or something, because I think that what y'all do as an art is important. Right. You know what I'm saying? I think poetry is beautiful. I appreciate it because I don't know how to do it, first of all. And I like that people can take words and like create a story with nothing behind it. Right. It's just you and your voice. And a lot of people tune into that. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's important.
I think it's needed.
I'm inspired.
We need poetry.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't care how hard you are, you know, whatever. We need poetry, and it does speak to you.
I'm inspired.
It's going to speak to you in some kind of way, you know. And whether you're writing it or spitting it. You know, because I find that out with a lot of my students. You know, you give them, they can clown the whole year, but you give them something to write and rhyme it.
Right. Yeah, they zone out.
Creative.
Because I've seen that teaching too.
You got it. But it's an outlet, you know, and it's just whether you're receiving it or giving it, you know, it's much needed. Right. Definitely. And since the topic is art and activism, tell us about some things that you are doing. I know you are right now working with the homeless.
Right. So I'm the coordinator of homeless prevention for an organization called Trusted Mentors. And so we believe basically in providing adult mentors. so we have two arms, and so like we have people who have been impacted by homelessness, then we have people who have been impacted by incarceration.
Okay.
And a lot of times those actually two big ones, and a lot of times those actually go like hand in hand. And so we have found through like research, and so when we think about the barriers that people who are homeless go through, and people who come out of like incarceration, we just think they can just magically get back on their feet. You know what I mean? And they can,
Whole another world.
It's a whole other world. There are barriers that we haven't even fathomed. You know what I mean?
Some people been in so long, they just want to go back.
They just,
There's people that just want to go back.
I mean, there are people who it's like they come out of homelessness and they get like in a house and they don't know what to do. I mean, they just don't have practical life skills that we take for granted. Like, how do I budget? You know what I mean? Like, how do I do this? And so, because of that, they're more likely to go back out there. You know what I mean? Because there's nobody kind of guiding them. We just send them out and just say, all right, you know what I mean? Like, after they have had an experience, of either being institutionalized, you know what I mean? Or literally being out on the street, learning how to survive, hand like over fist, you know what I mean? We just think that sometimes throwing those kind of like resources is going to like make it better, but people really need human like relationships,
right.
And that's what our organization does, is that we pair people who have been like impacted and who are transitioning out of incarceration, and out of homelessness, and we give them a mentor. And so,
what's the name of the organization?
It's called Trusted Mentors.
Trusted Mentors.
You can go to trustedmentors.org, because we are looking for more volunteers.
Okay.
And so part of what I do is, we like recruit, we train volunteers, and we ask these volunteers, to come alongside and support these, individuals, and to, at least for like 1 year. And so that looks like, just on a practical level, 6 hours per month. That, you know what I mean, that the mentee and the mentor are spending time with each other. Like we ask for at least 3 hours of face-to-face time. The other 3 can be communication, via texting or email. But it's just all about that like relationship. And so our program, has been found to be effective. Actually, 98% of people that came through our program through the homeless prevention track that had a mentee, they were able to stay housed. In 2016, 98%. And I want to say 80% of them were able to keep a stable job. I mean, and so, I mean, so, so that's, big. Like when you think about, how many people, are likely to kind of just go back out there and kind of fall through the cracks.
The numbers are phenomenal. Like, I mean, this is just the perspective. Not doing well. There's a lot of them out there.
And it's a growing number. You know what I mean? Like every day, it's a growing number. And, sometimes these are just people that we just completely like forget about. So,
is there is there a network? I gotta ask you this. I mean, because you probably heard it from the mouths of some homeless people. But do the homeless people have a mayor?
A mayor.
Yeah. And I'll just tell you the story real quick. I'll just tell you the story real quick. Hold on.
No, I'm sitting here.
I'll just tell you the story real quick.
Right.
I had to talk with a guy that used to be homeless.
Like they go to Anton Jackson from
and he said
In Living Color.
There are a network of.
There's a hierarchy within the homeless.
There's a and there's people who like address where you should go.
Absolutely.
Which streets you should go. They have laptops and phones and stuff, and like they're sovereign people.
And they
don't necessarily feel like their taxes should be taken out, so they would rather get it in a way where they just get all the money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that's just the best way to say it. But like they have like mayors and presidents, and like it's it's a big deal.
Like they really do.
Yeah.
Like, and the mayor, you know what I mean? I mean, that's what the mayor of Tick City. The person who is in charge of one camp can't say no. You can't come in this camp.
Right.
You can go to the one down like on 10th Street. It's a structure.
I never knew that.
Yeah. You can go like down the street.
Hold on, Doc. Like, look, I'm saying, this is our camp over here over 10th and Tibbs, Doc.
Right.
Downtown. You want to go downtown with them? You know what I'm saying? We got too many over here.
Right.
These trash cans are ours.
Right.
But
I mean, man, you can't.
On a serious note, though, but they're very structured.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, so it's a way of living that you get used to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even like within that. So. Yeah, no,
Wow.
I definitely like resourceful.
Oh, man.
And I think it's important to note that because a lot of times we think these people are savages and you know, they don't have any real skills.
There's a lot of mentally ill homeless people too.
Yeah, but it shows us that there's still people that function and have like systems and structures and relate to each other. They just don't have all the resources. Just like when you go to prison, these aren't just a bunch of savages and Neanderthals. Like there's all kinds of economy,
all different kinds of backgrounds.
Organization in prison. Like there are people who run prisons. There are people who run certain parts of the prison.
Absolutely.
Like it's not a foreign concept. My brother, was locked up, so I'm privy to it. In a more direct way. Like, he was blessed into to a particular group. I ain't gonna say on air, but but that was, I learned how in that case, like, and it kind of relates to homelessness, but just how, like, when it comes to, we'll look at somebody in prison, like, why are they glorifying their culture? But if you're in prison, just like if you're anywhere, like, you
adapt to the environment.
You in order to survive, you have to take some of those things. It's really hard to just be completely resistant,
especially on the West Coast.
Yeah,
serious.
So when he got out, he didn't go back to that. But in order to survive that time, he had protection. He had people who looked out for him.
Right.
Like I'm not saying gangs and everything is all good, but I think people look at it in a really one linear way.
They're trying to get home.
They serve a purpose.
Yeah, you're trying to get home. You're going to follow the rules.
And there's a real community in that. You know? So it's like we look at people, homeless people, incarcerated folks, like they're just, that's how it's supposed to be. Like they almost don't exist. Like they're in a prison out here somewhere. They're homeless under the bridge, in the park.
Yeah, man, they're off the grid.
You don't have to think about them.
Yeah,
they're off the grid. These are real people.
Right. A lot of people aren't used to seeing them, so when they are, it's fear. Right.
Yeah, but like some of them, man, like they love that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like when I lived in Los Angeles, have y'all seen what do they call it? Skid Row?
Yeah, well, I've seen the documentary.
I mean, but
downtown
actually,
LA.
Yeah, but to actually see it in like in person, oh my God, like it's unbelievable, man.
It's a village.
It is unreal. And some of them, like you offer them, to buy them food and stuff. Like, nope, I want some money.
No, they don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They don't want, none of that. And I had conversations with homeless people there in here, and a lot of them would tell me, why would I work when I can make sometimes $100 an hour here? They're getting money.
They're very savvy in California, and I hate to be the comedian behind this, but I seen a homeless man with a sign that said, "If you look at my sign, you owe me $1." And he was getting paid. He was getting paid. I tell you what, we didn't look at the sign because I seen what he was doing. They chase people. You looked at my sign.
Serious?
Give me $1. Yeah.
So they would chase.
I mean, and you would have to give them $1.
Wow.
So you got to be careful.
I saw your eyes look at my sign.
Hey, no, they're very savvy. They're very savvy in LA. Talking about hustle city.
It's
I'm
like
telling
that in
you,
New York
it's real.
too. I remember the first time I went to New York. Not again, not to be the comedian, but like just comparing homeless people, how they function in different areas.
Right.
So in Indianapolis, it's like more just a sign.
Right.
Passive.
In New York, they come in, they get on the subway. Man, in 2007, I lost my home and he has a whole monologue.
Story.
Wow.
The economy tanked. This dude was talking about like the entire structure of the economy and how it impacted him and
intellectual.
They intimidate in New York, honey. You ain't been inducted into the culture until you've been cussed out by a homeless person. In New York,
it's a whole different breed.
It's a whole nother world.
Yeah.
That's why I know it has to be structured. They're very structured. Some of the people be in the same corner every day.
doing shifts and
Man.
you know what I mean.
Monday and
Switching,
Wednesday,
like,
we on
my
38th
shift
in
is 2
Michigan.
to 4.
Sweating.
You can't come here until my shift is done, and then you can take
Oh
over.
man,
You know what I mean?
man!
It's
Shout out to the homeless business owners. I mean, because they got a real network out there. They got a real network out there. But you know, but there's also some people who are homeless for real, and you help them.
Yeah, man.
You know, that's good.
Yeah, so that's what I do during the day. You know what I mean? And then all the time, you know, I'm just about you know, the Black liberation movement. You know. The liberation of Black women, the empowerment of Black women, and you know, and so I've been, you know, fortunate to link that with my art, you know, with my poetry. You know, I just did a panel for IUPUI's social justice symposium. They had a segment on women in art. I did a panel for Black Lives Matter, the dangers of being Black in film. So you know, just trying to and Too Black was in support, So and I'm doing something for IUPUI in June, but you know what I mean. Just
that's
just
amazing.
Really
It's a whole nother world.
I know.
Yeah, it's a movement, man. Like
what do you have going on, Too Black?
Like y'all were joking about, I stayed
Johannesburg, Nigeria,
just
Alaska. He'll be in Alaska next week.
Right.
He'll be in Australia, you know.
Exactly.
What venues are open here? Like what? Poetry spots over here.
There's quite a few.
I used to go to some though, like a lot here.
We can shout those out real quick.
Yeah.
I don't have the addresses off the top of my head.
Okay.
But,
shout out to my girl Mariah Ivy.
Yeah.
She got her spot.
Where's that at? Like what
piece.
landmark? Like what?
That piece open mic.
Fountain Square. Okay.
Fountain Square.
Okay.
Yeah.
Calvin Fletcher Books.
Yeah, it's the only place you'll see like a million niggas like just stacked up.
Yeah.
Like it'd be heavy in there. Like we packed that place
Yeah.
out.
She got a show this Thursday.
Tasha Jones.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tasha Jones was a Indianapolis poet.
Yeah, Vibe on Wednesday.
Okay.
That's at Epic.
That's at Epic Lounge up in Castleton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's every other Wednesday. There's one tomorrow
Okay.
at 8:00. It's that's an older audience. So because it's 21 up, because they got a bar and everything.
Right.
Yeah, got you. Yeah.
Greenhouse Effect.
Greenhouse Effect.
Shout out to Greenhouse.
Where's that one at?
On Friday. That's on. He moved.
It's on 30.
Right?
Yeah, he did
You know,
move
38th
out.
anymore?
Man,
Okay.
was that the one that we went to? Remember, like years ago, man, we went to one. It was off of right by Crown Hill.
Yeah.
That's the same one.
Yeah.
No, actually no.
I think.
no.
Oh man, I got a funny story.
This was more east.
I got a funny story about
You
that.
talking about
He talking about
Midtown?
Midtown. He talking about he talking about Midtown.
Well, like it was
Oh,
right,
yeah.
like it was right by Crown Hill.
That's Midtown.
Are you
That's
sure? 'Cause-
Midtown.
Nah, but like
you talking about-
it was in the
Cafe
house.
Kiumba?
Yeah, because it's college.
It was in somebody's house though.
Oh, okay.
No. You mixing that up.
No.
The
This one-
Greenhouse Effect was far east.
By the Meadows.
But the one that we went to was Midtown. That
Are
was
you
Midtown.
sure? Because
Yeah.
when we walked in, like it was a
Patrick,
house.
It's not.
And then it was a graveyard.
Hey, listen, man, like
And then it was
there
a
were
tomb.
couches, man, but this dude got mad at me.
That's probably Midtown.
That's Midtown.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
That's
Midtown.
like a
Man,
legendary
this dude
spot.
got mad at me though, man.
Legendary spot,
It was
yeah.
funny.
That's like a legendary spot that's passed on.
That was one of the first times I went into a poetry
Shout out to Alan
spot.
Imagery.
Yeah, I know Alan. Alan's a good dude. That's the first time I went into a poetry spot, and I was actually scared of one of the poets. He came raw and uncut, like, man, do I need to go get my gun? Because that's the first time that I've seen like an emotional poet was serious. And then when he got off, he was a completely different person. I was like,
Wow.
cool.
Oh yeah, man.
Cool, but some people really get into character.
They
That's what I love about
I'm
it.
telling you, they
Because you don't know what's gonna happen. You're like, man, he gonna kill everybody in here. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, but the applause he got, I can't remember the guy's name for nothing, but he killed it, man.
It was probably too
Yeah.
black.
So poetry,
Right. You know what I'm saying?
it
Probably was,
might have
man.
been.
We took somebody home
might
that
have
night, man. I'm saying like, this is one guy, man. Remember, like he got up and he freestyled one. We took him home.
Yeah,
When that
we ended up
dude-
taking somebody home.
Man, but this one white guy, man. Oh man, I mean, he look, he was pissed at me because we walked in and like I was sitting on this couch, and like I'm allergic, man, to bees, right? So I don't even know how it was bees in this dark, spot anyway. So like I sit down, right? It's bees just flying around. So the white dude was like sitting right here. So the bee like flew by me. So like I hit it, stepped on it, right? Oh man, this dude's like, hey man, that's a life form.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, and he was like this close to me. I'm like, what is this dude like, man?
I tell you what, I love poetry, but it's some different ones.
Oh man, he was hot.
It's some different ones in there.
We got some interesting characters.
He's like, man, can you please leave or go sit over there?
Really?
Yeah.
Man, hey, he was hot.
Man.
Yeah, man, dude was mad at me.
I think I know what that might be, but I ain't gonna say that.
He's like, man, it's a life form, man.
Yeah,
You can't step on that.
Oh yeah, it's some
And
heavy ones.
Poets get hecklers too. I think it was you and who was performing? I think it was a night you, Sticks, and somebody else was performing. Maybe it was Sticks. I know the same venue was at Vocab. And
I remember. That was me.
Yeah, poets get hecklers too.
There was a drunk white dude in the front.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yes, poets get hecklers just like the other folks.
And you
too.
gotta be at a
angry audience members.
That's where you gotta turn to a comedian. You gotta know how to flip.
Right.
Like that's another element of performing is the comedic part. Like,
wow.
Because I watch like comedians just to see how
how they interact.
Yeah.
Some comedians will come back quick.
Come back quick, honey.
Oh man, like that one dude, man, like he was arguing with some girls and like they posted it on Facebook. I mean, he was going in on them. Oh my God, man. Yeah, I mean, man, you know what, man? I forgot that guy's name, but that was funny.
It was a comedian.
And like these girls was like heckling him, and he went in.
Comedian.
Some comedians
I think
are
so.
very good at.
I mean, he went in on them.
You gotta do it
Rebuttals.
quick.
Yeah.
You don't want to end your whole set for some idiot in the audience.
Right.
That's counterproductive, in my opinion. But you gotta be able to just.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to start over? Like you started.
One time I was in Indiana State. And I just wasn't in the mood to just. Sometimes I just push through when I hear people talking, but they just kept talking. So I just stopped the poem. Was like, "Yo, could y'all shut the fuck up, please?" And I went right back into the poem, and the audience like cheered, but at that point, everybody was on their head. Like somebody had to go back there and talk to them, because the audience wants to listen.
Right.
So what
You're in the wrong venue.
What you do is you turn the audience against them.
Right.
You know,
there you go.
Oh.
Like, man, look, I'm up here trying to do my piece, and this dude, look, I mean, look at him.
Right.
You know what I mean? They back there just talking about nothing. What y'all talking about, man?
Can we get a couple of pieces?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, we have some faithful viewers listening in. I'm pretty sure they're ready to hear some good poetry, some good art.
Who wants to go first?
Yeah, who wants to go first is the question. We got to spin the bottle.
My voice is horrible.
Y'all don't want my world peace again? I can't even remember it. It won't even be said the same way.
Ice Mountain, Water of Dreams.
Nah, this
That's it for you.
This piece is actually one of my favorite pieces
Okay.
that I've ever written, just because it was inspired at a time where you turn on the news every day, you know what I mean? And it was another, black man being, you know what I mean, shot down. And and it was literally like I just wrote the piece and it flowed. You know what I mean? And it was just like, and then I remember like writing it and then performing it like the next day. Like that's just how it was like written inside him. Like that's how
you remembered
it
it and everything?
Yeah, it was just it was really like divine. Wow. Like seriously, like that has never happened to me like before. But like that piece, it was just like it was supposed to be written and performed at that time. And so
you just unlocked that door and it came out.
Yeah. So
what is that piece called?
It's called Dear Black Man.
Dear Black Man.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all get ready.
Put my hood on.
Turn your volume up.
Put my hood on real quick.
Turn your volume up. Let's go.
Dear Black Man, loving you is my revolution. Loving you is my picketed protest as I pump black fist and raise crimson banner above my head, stained with love, but sometimes stained with blood. Dripping in immortalized fame curled over the edges of your name that even your birth certificate cannot prophesy. For you entered into this world, the prey of Babylon, the Cecil of America's jungle, the most wanted crown of kingdoms, and the oracle of ancient Egypt. For your blackness is the new blood diamond. Your blackness is the new blood diamond being bidded on by diabolical devils disguised as deities, holding secret societies and meetings, investing blood money into your destruction, breeding corruption, and using your melanin to spar war among political pundits. Dear black man, loving you is my revolution. Although your blackness is still being sold on the auction blocks of street corners, jail cells, court witness stands, classrooms, cubicles, and recording booths. Loving you is my revolution, although it is a danger to love you. Although America has placed a target on your back, although each morning that I see you off, I know there is a risk that you may never come back. Although I know that I am just a phone call or a Facebook video live away from risking seeing you die today, knowing that I could be a Coretta or a Shabazz or a Quinetta McMillan or a Diamond Lavish Reynolds, and while I am mourning over your unjust death, America is digging into your past, trying to paint you as a criminal. Dear black man, loving you is my revolution. And although it is a danger to love you, I have stood by your side. I have marched with your stride. I have taken vows to be your bride. I have stood tall with you at protests and rallies in the aisles of grocery stores. I have sat next to you in church pews and movie theaters, holding your hand, webbing my life with yours. I have received evil glances in naked streets. I have taken on the ink of your black to deepen my own skin. I have pledged my allegiance to you and worn your flag as my true colors. Dear black man, loving you is my revolution. Our cuffing season is a revolution, for we were brought here bound in fetters, but they tried to sever our together. Took your seed from my loins to dismantle a dynasty. That's why we love so hard. That's why we make love like there's no tomorrow, whispering ancient secrets in midnight cocoons just in case one of us doesn't get to make it until noon. Dear black man, loving you is my revolution, for I have the nerve to love you. I have the nerve to love you. I have the nerve to love you, to birth you black babies, giving them your names, telling them about their history before the American version, calling them kings and queens before this world tries to curse them. For I am your mother, your daughter, your sister, your wife, your queen. Dear black man, I am the other half of your being, and you are my kinsman, my brother, my son, and my king. For I am your queen of Sheba, bringing you gold that we may build empires. I am your Angela Davis, your frontline ride or die. I am your Harriet Tubman, packing pistols for protection just in case we may need to fire. I am your Amy Garvey, speaking in to your inner Messiah. And you are my brother, my kinsman, my king, dear black man. Loving you is my revolution. For we were made in the image of the same sun that melded our dark soil into one. For you are flesh of my flesh. I am flesh of your flesh and bone of your bone. When God created me, he even said it was not good for you to be alone. Dear black man, loving you is my revolution, and my love for you is your throne.
Wow. Woo-wee. Let me get some snaps.
That's nice. That's dope.
Yes. Made me get the ugly face.
That was amazing.
Never gets old.
Wow.
Wow, man.
Yes. Too black.
I need a church fan right now.
Oh. Man.
Well, that's powerful.
Where's the paper?
Feeling the spirit. Right now.
Yeah, sure. Air it out.
That's powerful.
That was amazing, man.
Appreciated.
Very powerful.
Thank you.
That was appreciated, man.
I gotta follow that.
Oh, yeah. You got to follow that one.
Man.
Going through the Rolodex.
I'm gonna do this one. This one's called Reverbs.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say on the introduction on it. I am the screeching cry expanding from the bottom of the Black Canyon. I am the ether, seeping between the societal chasms that the white imagination cannot fathom. I am the phantom, the fantastical phenomenon. I am the palm applied to your face. I am your wake-up call. I am the light shining inside the lantern that you failed to ponder on. My heartbeat is an anthem, so if I don't skip to my own beat, then I'm deceased. See, this life that I keep won't let me dance in a trance. Yet still my current circumstance, the uphill battle, facing a raveling avalanche filled with cold-blooded whiteness that's opposed to those of my likeness. whiteness. And when I say whiteness, man, I don't just mean the people, I mean the mindset. Generations die with each person, but certain lines of thinking remain timeless. My life is a study in blackness, an alternative reenactment of Back to the Future. And when I got back, Doc Brown was like, "No, nigga, your status is Black to the Future." Because we ain't really got to rewind the time back to abuse you. So if today is yesterday and the future is the beginning, then the likes of Mike Brown being shot down is a modern day lynching. Black bodies swinging, tree branches clenching. They say if you take a close listen and lean, you can hear the bottom of the root scream. They want us to believe that our blood in the leaves is the same disease that brought down Adam and Eve. However, if you ask me, I would say murdering an unarmed black teen is serpentine. That is, if your intentions is speaking religious superstitions. Y'all know the tradition, the scenario where the death of black life gets treated like a burial for an American sacrifice, and all excess pass into a post-racial afterlife where the entire recurrence of my history never existed, created a not so ironic irony that those who mainly benefited from it get offended simply by it being mentioned. There you go again, playing the victim, blaming the system. But I'm going to tell you the real racists are. The real racists are the people who keep talking about race. If we just stop talking about it, then it'll go away. Ain't that right, Vicky? Well, I don't really see color. To me, we're all sisters and brothers, and slavery happened like forever ago. So I don't know, can we get over it? I mean, you can apply the deodorant, but when it comes to racism in this place, America's armpits reek of a thick, unbearable stench of bullshit. You know it's bad when it's internationally known that your shit stinks, yet instead of having them gutted, these words become counterpunches for the dominant public who sadly has the audacity to inaccurately think that they can somehow hold my black ass in judgment. Understand, the very essence of my presence is fuck it. Your acceptance is not something I covet. I stand here tall above it with no disguise, no bowed head or lowered eyes, with the heart to harness the soul of my Angelo, so regardless of any carnage or darkness, still I rise. That's a piece.
Okay. Snap.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, that's inspiring, man. I wish I could be a poet, man. You know what I'm saying? All I can do is
reach your level, man.
All I can do is go to sleep and
We
dream
teach,
that I'm
we teach workshops.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, man, just reach your level.
That's a part of what we do. Is, you know what I mean?
I mean, but y'all got a rhythm with it, like
Cadence.
I ain't got that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like the Dr. Seuss.
But you write music, right?
I do, but that's different.
No,
You're not singing.
just say it.
Like,
Say it.
it
Instead
It is,
wanna
but if you
just
look
say
at
it.
my words on paper, you be like, he just trying to get in the bed.
Two black
That's
said those are the ones. Right.
Exactly.
Capitalize on the word break.
Right.
Yeah. But a lot of thought goes into your wordplay because you don't have the beat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what's so amazing is
They are the
because
beat.
you are the beat, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, when I say the rhythm, I mean, like, you just keep it going.
Right.
And a lot of it rhymes and a lot of it makes so much sense. That's amazing to me.
It's powerful, man.
Every artist has their own cadence, and
Yeah.
once you know artists,
You tap into who you are,
actually-
yeah.
Yeah, man, just reach your level, man. That's
Right.
it.
Now you got certain versions of artists that you like. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I don't like what y'all did.
And it takes you
two
time,
very
like,
different
sometimes to
styles.
do that.
Man, powerful.
Did you find yourself copying when you first started? Did you find yourself like mimicking other people that you may have been inspired by, or you know, when you first started until you developed who you were in your own sense of style and cadence?
I don't think I mimicked people's cadence. I think I tried to. I'm like, I'm gonna write as good as him. You know what I mean? Or I'm gonna write.
That's what you should
You know
do.
what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So like for me, it was like I feel like if you try to mimic somebody's style and
Right.
delivering, that's so obvious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially like in this city, that's just gonna be so obvious.
Right.
So I had to develop like my own, you know what I mean, rhythm and cadence and style. But there were people that I seen that I was like, okay, I need to match that level of writing
Gotcha.
like them.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
So, yeah.
That's what's up. Same question for you.
What was the question?
Did you find yourself, as you were developing your own sense of cadence and style, did you find yourself maybe mimicking people that you may have been inspired by, or like Manan said, you know, people that you knew were like those tops, you know, like, okay, I gotta write like this, or I have to sound like this, or whatever, you know,
I think
to get the attention of the audience.
I think a lot of poets do it with like subconsciously. I don't think we actually sit around and say I want to sound. I hope not, at least that
Right,
we
right.
sit around and say we want to sound like somebody. But I think sometimes you might catch yourself, whereas a bit of your cadence sounds similar to so
Yeah.
and so. You know, I always like when somebody says, you remind me of so and so versus you sound like them. Like you say, if you're like, yo, you remind me of Pac, like that's a compliment. You say, yo, you sound like Pac.
Right.
It's different. Yeah.
I
Totally
need to work on
context.
something. You know,
Right.
like I'm not me.
Right.
Versus I kind of invoke the idea of somebody that's great to me. Like if I invoke the idea of a Malcolm or something, that's dope. I don't necessarily want to sound like anyone.
Right.
I want to sound like whatever I sound like.
Right.
I mean, for me, like I studied a lot of like you read poetry, and then like there's also like the hip hop cadences, and just like to throw all those words together, like the tongue twisters. You have to like actually work on that. Like sometimes even when you're writing, you can't say those tongue twisters.
Right.
Like they're twisting your tongues, and then you say it enough. You know, sadly has the audacity to inaccurately think like that didn't always. I was like, sadly has the audacity, like sadly has the audacity to inaccurately.
Right.
But I used to always do. It's like my nursery rhyme, even though it's not really nursery rhyme. Big pun. Dead in the middle of Little Italy. Little did we know we riddles with middlemen who didn't do diddly. I used to say that all the time. So whenever I want to just kind of spaz out like that, if it just comes, I taught my mouth how to move on certain rhyme schemes. You know.
Pun is in my top 5.
I didn't know Pun wrote like that.
Pun is big.
Oh, Pun,
Big Pun is big, man.
Yeah, Big Pun.
Man, that Capital Punishment album is oh my god.
But you could, but it's like I learned like certain styles, like how people. I take from a little bit of everybody, but then I try to like make it my own.
Right.
But I definitely learn like tongue twisters from certain people.
Yeah.
And it's like tongue twisters for me, just on that specifically. Like I don't be like, okay, I need a tongue twister right now.
Right.
It just happens.
Right.
You know, or I need a metaphor, or I need to sound like extra deep, or
Right.
you know, or, you know, it's just when you form your own style, like it just naturally comes out like that.
Right.
You know, you're not trying to necessarily show. Like there's a poet, Theon, his rhyme scheme is crazy.
Yes, totally.
That's just how he is.
Yeah.
You know, he just throws words, and it's like almost every word he says rhymes.
Right.
He's doing poems.
That's his style.
Yeah, he's just that good.
Right.
You know, other cats I see a lot of people actually try to imitate Theon.
Okay.
Wow.
And it doesn't work out.
Right. There's only one you. You can only be you.
It doesn't work out.
You gotta reach your level, man.
Yeah.
Period.
That's what's up, man. Can we get a couple more pieces? I mean, like now I'm hungry. I'm hungry for more. Yeah, just give us one more each.
One more each.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually.
Oh, here we go.
That's another thing for people. If you're trying to be a spoken word artist, you can still read your poems.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's your writing.
To read your poems.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Don't pull the cannabis though.
And because you wrote it, you know
Don't
what I
pull
mean?
the Drake.
Wait, what's the cannabis and the Drake?
Well,
What's
Drake
that?
was freestyling and he
Go
put
ahead.
out.
Oh
rhymes on his
yeah,
phone.
that's I never understood how artists
Well,
say
the canna-
freestyle, but they're saying something they've already written. Or,
Yeah, I'm saying
or they on their phone.
People been doing that since the beginning of time too. It's just nobody knew it.
Right.
But my thing is if
You
even
just
if
assume
people
it
like
was
when
a
people freestyle, if you wrote it, it's
Yeah, but it's supposed to come
okay.
off
No.
the top of your
Yeah.
head, though.
Yeah.
It's how-
Yeah,
Some
I mean,
people believe that.
I mean, the real essence, because like you know, even y'all, like you know, when y'all write, that's actually a form of freestyle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I write in my head, right? So a lot of it is me. I was telling somebody the other day, I say the things out loud and I try to catch. I catch the words and just
Right.
they just stick.
Wow.
you
Are there
know.
poets that will do freestyles like live and just will go off the dome and just be?
Oh yeah.
Theon, if
Like
you want to,
fluid.
you should have him on the next show.
Yeah.
But like
Hey,
Theon,
Dion, come holler at us.
Yeah, man.
you
Yeah.
never
Bring you
really
on,
know
bro.
if Theon is freestyling or if he wrote it because you can't really tell the difference.
Right.
Because it's just always crazy.
Right.
It'll
Like,
just keep going and going and
Yeah.
going and going and going. I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Uh-huh.
you just did 100 bars. Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
It just be
Wow.
like,
But the cannabis though,
Yeah.
the cannabis, like he was actually in a rap battle, right?
and he pulled
So
out his phone.
yeah, and like I mean he pulled out like the
He pulled out a notebook.
You meant the whole notebook.
oh, for real?
Yeah, that's like you never do
Flip
that in a
pages.
rap battle. Yeah, you never do that in a rap
Now,
battle.
come on.
He like,
So he pulled it out.
he like,
You know
I'm
what
about to
saying? He
kill
pulled it
you
out.
now.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, basically, that's what he was saying. It's like he pulled it out.
Right. I'm getting them, hitting them, then I'm really about to get you.
I know. He was.
I mean, hip hop is a whole nother thing. You don't pull out no notebook.
Whole nother game.
That was a funeral.
Got to be careful.
If you watch that video,
man, that was embarrassing, man.
That was a funeral for him.
Oh my
But
goodness.
I did see the Drake one because he was over in London, right? Like when he did that on
Westwood.
Westwood, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like,
It
you
was
ain't
all
got
through
a
that
Westwood and be like, dang, hold on.
And then he started spitting.
He was like, I'm gonna get it back. Hold on.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
I remember
no,
Lil Wayne's was like a billion times worse than that.
What?
Lil Wayne?
On
Wayne?
Westwood. Oh
he
man.
can actually freestyle.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, he's off the top.
Nah, man, that one on Westwood was
He must have
terrible.
too much lean.
too much
now.
lean, man.
Okay.
He's
killing your
a
brain.
kid.
But like he don't write his own stuff either, so that's
Really?
oh nah, he
That's
doesn't.
speculation.
No, that's
I thought
factual.
Wayne was off the top,
That's
man.
factual. The first Carter
Who's
1 and 2.
writing it?
Gilly
First
the
Carter.
Kid.
Thank you.
Who?
Gilly.
Oh, yeah.
Shout
I
out
heard
to
about
Gilly the
that.
Kid.
I heard about
Yeah.
that. I heard about
He wrote
Gilly
the first
Kid.
Carter 1 and 2. So like if you listen
The
to
most lyrical Carters,
yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, the most stepping out the motherfucking car, day in awe. I'm looking like a star, bitch. When you see me, make a wish. Come on, man. That's Gilly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because everything
Yeah.
Lil Wayne talks about nowadays is mainly
Yeah.
the same three things.
I'm not
We
even
can't say
familiar
on the
with
radio,
like with Gilly, his
Gilly's
flow,
always
so I
the
wouldn't
same
even know.
thing.
Right.
Listen, if you
How did you find out?
oh no, they
was on the internet,
yeah,
man.
It was a big deal. It was a
It's
big deal at one time.
because Gilly was like saying because it all came down man to money. So like he was getting 100% of his publishing, so he was actually making more money than Wayne at the time.
Yeah.
So he was like, look, if y'all don't believe me, you see this chain, go to this video. And Lil Wayne came and like, yo man, can I wear that chain in the video? So Lil Wayne is wearing his chain. And but nah, he was just saying all type of stuff that they never said he was lying or nothing.
Wow.
But they pay him, under the table, so he wrote the Carter 1 and the Carter 2.
Wow.
He wrote it. And if you look at him like his mannerisms and how he talked, I mean you could tell Lil Wayne studied him.
What?
Oh man,
As
like
well as Jay and
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who's ghostwriting poetry?
I don't want to meet those. I'm
Are
gonna
you
Right,
give me
right.
y'all?
have a problem.
Nah, it's
Right.
got to be Ocean.
Right.
What you got for us? But nah, what you got for us? It's another nice piece.
On the day that the mirror opens to light without shame and blackness.
Hold on. I'm sorry. What's the name of this piece?
Blackness is a miracle.
Blackness is a miracle.
Yeah. On the day that the mirror opens to light without shame and blackness is a miracle, we are once fortunate to see our real beauty, dark satin clothed, wrapped around robust winding bones, curving mountains into whispering echoes of gazelles, galloping plains, gold cobbled rivers, deep-throated songs, telling our ancients on the day that the mirror opens to light without shame and blackness is a miracle. We then shed the lies that confound the taste of our skin, like scattered dust in the hands of eulogizing priests. We collect ourselves again in our own palms, resuscitating our history to ourselves like sacred psalms, while we die to convent prisons and burn the liturgies of who they told us we were. On the day that the mirror opens to light without shame and blackness is a miracle, we speak our real names, stretch our mother's wombs to room belief, the holy lineage from which we descended. We name ourselves queen and anoint our own kings, passage ourselves with pierced dotted noses and rope-colored links, tracing our wounded feet back up on back, hip bone to hip bone, chain-necked noose, amethyst lips, bleeding truth from the impossibilities behind us. We say, no more, forward. On the day that the mirror opens to light without shame and blackness is a miracle, our fathers will provide feasts for their daughters, will celebrate their sweet 16s with decor of kinky hair and large lips and broad hips. Our daughters will no longer see themselves as an anomaly, as other, as opposite, as comparable to white. We are that we are. We are that we are. Black born into black, like soil, like dust, like earth, like clay, like everything this universe is made of, like God on the first day. For there was always black first. And everything else, including you, is only a shadow of that miracle.
I know that's
Okay.
right.
Good. Snaps. Right on.
Need to perform that more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Golly.
Perform that more.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's when I've been just kind of
That's the ones where you like.
You've been sitting on. That's the one you go. I'm about to kill it.
You love those poems. You love those poems, and you be like, man, people ain't really gonna hear me.
Right,
you know,
right.
But you be like, this is the best poem I ever wrote.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best ones be the ones you don't share with
nobody.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one I wrote partially in South Africa. It's also on an album. Shout out to Clint Breeze. It's an album called Nappy Head.
Okay.
This is actually a whole song. I don't have no band behind me though, so it's just gonna be big. But it's called Blood Splatter. So if you get the album, it's a dope album. It's like the best, I'd argue, the best like hip hop album to come out locally in Napa in a minute.
Okay.
Clint Breeze. Nappy Head, he's been a Nouveau, Indie Star, all of that already.
Shout out to Clint Breeze.
He's a producer that just put a bunch of like dope artists on one album. Theon's on there.
Dope.
Who else is on there? Sirius Black. A lot of artists that are big in the city. In the scene are on there. So yeah. Let's paint the world in blood splatter. Let's lather it in imperialistic lavishness. Let's paint red, white, and blue stripes on the backs of these savage Africans. Let's use them as mannequins for our empty canvases. Let's strip them, whip them, 3/5 them, bomb them, African them. Let's teach the nigga African and the nigga American that they have absolutely nothing in common. Let's paint the world in blood splatter. Let our destinies manifest through the breasts of the native women we put our kids in, then melt the clock forward and reward them as illegal nannies and mammies. Conquistador these whores, because our law is the Lord, and the Lord saith that no man shall layeth with another man, because we need him to make his children for our war. So fuck your gayness unless it's exploitative. I said, let's paint the world in blood splatter. Let's send forces to raid resources where even the slightest few gather. We can't miss even the slightest crevices of the earth, but to be safe, let's diverse the evidence where humankind began. The white man's burden is to be an incomplete surgeon, cutting open lagoons of wounds but never quite sewing them shut, because capitalism is an infinite system that never quite runs out of blood to pump. You probably think I'm sick, but this blood formula is the only type of paint that sticks. It leaves a record of every brown and black limb severed in the name of our heroic endeavors. Blood has such cadaverous advantages, so yes, let's paint the world in blood splatter. Wait, I have an idea. Let's make this a religion and call it patriotism. Sanctified in genocide. Hallelujah. Red. I need more red. Hallelujah. Red. I need more red. Hallelujah. Red. I need more red. I said, let's paint the world in blood splatter. Let's aspire to be like vampires and drain these niggas of the ancestral plasma. Do Black Lives Matter? Hashtag, of course they do. Who else we gonna eat? Who else is hemoglobin is gonna feed the greed of our culture? It's through the drudges, it's blood that we sign away this masterpiece and this democracy. It's through the drudges, it's blood that we sign away their independence and this here constitution, signing the empire's creed. Sincerely, niggas bleed. Wow. Niggas
Whoa.
What's that one called?
Blood Splatter.
Wow.
Blood Splatter. Wow.
And that's on the album.
That's on Clint's album. It's like one of the last songs on there.
Wow.
All right.
Dope.
I'm buying that one.
Dope.
Yeah, like.
Does he have a website or a link for that right now?
Yeah, it's on Bandcamp. It's on.
It's on Bandcamp.
I think it's on Spotify.
Okay.
So you can type in Blood Splatter.
Nice.
Clint Breeze or True Black.
Man, that was incredible, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was doing this. It was a slam out there that I was gonna have to do, and I was trying to write. I was trying to write these 1-minute poems. It was like the challenge. Like I could write a bunch of like dope, just 1-minute poems.
Wow.
So originally it was like a minute, and then when I got to this, Clint wanted me to do a poem with a song. Well, he sent me the music. I'm like, okay, I gotta figure this out. So I spent the whole night trying to do another poem, trying to write it.
Okay.
It didn't work. I just never felt right. I had the music playing. So the next morning, I got to go to the studio. I still didn't have anything ready. So I pulled that out and wrote like 2 more stanzas in there.
Got you.
And then got with the band, and it just worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
we knocked it out in the first take. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a very nice piece, man.
It's powerful, man.
Just being in South Africa, and it was like, I don't know there was something about the irony. Let's paint the world in blood splatter.
Right.
And that just clicked. Like, because I was like, I'm there and I'm thinking about how, everything there was controlled by, even though they say apartheid is ended, people don't know what apartheid is. I'm gonna oversimplify it. It's basically like an extreme version of Jim Crow. And that's ended in '94, but you're still there, and like the white folks still own most of the land, still own most of the gold that comes out of the land, still own most of the resources. And I just thought about how colonialism functions, how you. I remember learning, and ironically, in that non-Western civilization class we were talking about, where they basically is like, Europe was like, Belgians were like, okay, we're gonna take this part, and then England's like, we're gonna take this part, and then they just kind of carved the continent up of Africa up in the rest of the world, and it's like it was kind of like for them it was like this masterpiece, like I'm gonna take over here and I'm just gonna paint it in this
French,
area, and I'm just gonna fix this.
French did a number.
Yeah, so it's like, let's just paint it in blood splatter, and the whole thing, and the whole world was conquered under that concept.
Yep. And, interesting enough, a lot of tribes are still against one another because of that. If you guys got big noses, you're over here. If you guys got small ears, you're over here. You got bigger nose. I forget which one it was, but they told one of them they were smarter than the other. I mean, and that is, it went for years and years and years, tribes killing each other, and the Tutsi, I think it was the Tutsi and the Hutu. Yeah,
you gotta watch the movie Shaka Zulu.
So that was interesting. I don't want Facebook to shut us off. We are almost at our 2-hour mark, so we got to shut it down. But you guys have been amazing.
Yes,
absolutely, man.
Amazing.
Thank you, man, for coming in.
Got to do this again, and you guys inspired us to want to continue to doing this. We might do this, try and do this once a month, because what you guys do is important. The world is used to seeing us in sports, crime, and entertainment. They rarely get to see us in a form of true emotion. You know what I'm saying? And then what you guys do is important. So, we'll do some closing remarks. If you guys could just, let people know where they can find you, and and leave them with a nice little piece or something. Not a poetry, but just like a mission statement or something.
Keep it short. Now you can find me at 2black.net. All the social media that you would need is on there.
Okay.
So I don't really need to list everything, but I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. But it's all like when you go to the site, there's a logo, and underneath it will have all of the social media listed. Yeah. But yeah, just I appreciate everybody who's listening, who's stuck with it. I hope we get more people to listen to this. Like
absolutely
as it goes on.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
Yo, so Manon Voice, MANONVOICE. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under that moniker. And yep, I'm a poet, spoken word artist, MC, activist, lecturer. I also host. I host my own poetry night. And Ebony was a feature a couple of months ago, and she did an excellent job. And so it's Coyard Coffee, which is in Irvington. It's 5547 Bonner Avenue. And so we're having a poetry night next Saturday, April 29th from 7 to 10. I'm bringing in a poet. She's actually been on Def Jam. Her name is Marty. Okay. So I'm going to have her. So she's going to be the feature for the night. So come and check that out. Okay. And then the day before, April 28th, I'm actually helping Tamika Catchings with her. She's doing like a little poetry night, like open mic at Tease Me. Yeah.
Shout out to Tamika Catchings.
She became the owner of that.
So she just became the owner, and so that's going to be from 6 to 8. Smart. Yeah, it's called Tease Me. Yep.
Tease Me. Yeah.
Tease Me Cafe is right there on 22nd and Central. Yeah. So if you can, 6 to 8. Calling all poets, like whatever you got, you know what I mean. Just come and bring it.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Ray E.
No
me
problem.
and Ray E. Like we go back.
History.
We got a history. You know what I mean? Like Ray E. Like when I first started, doing like my hip hop thing. You know, he was the first one that was putting putting me on game and recorded like my first EP.
Yep.
We gotta hear that.
Yeah,
you got a serious single.
We gotta hear that EP.
You got a serious single. I can't remember what the name of it for the life of me, but when you had finally got one song, you was like, check this out, Ray. And I'm like, man, you better do something with that.
Which one?
It was a cross between gospel and like hip hop.
Was it Everyday Champion?
Yes.
Was it that one?
I think that was it. I gotta hear it again.
Yeah.
But I love that one.
Yeah. So
Manon, she got some lyrics.
I just want to thank you guys for coming out, and it was very interesting, and I think good to see you guys as an artist, a whole artist, and I can genuinely see how sincere you are about your craft.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you speak it, you live it, and that's kind of, at least from my vantage point, kind of rare when you have artists that's like, this is their life for real.
Right.
It's not just I'm just write and do this so I can sound good.
Yeah.
Right. Everything I can sense it. You are a poet. You're a poet and an artist. And I think that's very inspiring.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, thank you all for this platform.
Thank you.
Hey,
man, you're welcome.
Right on.
At some point, we're going to get Ebony to do a couple pieces.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Ebony.
Absolutely.
We got to turn it red.
Come out of the shell.
Looks like Facebook about that. No.
We don't want it to cut off, do we?
Static.
We're going to get you next time.
Right.
P. Wills.
Thank y'all, man, for coming in, man.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy the pieces, man. Just building, the whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love poetry. When I lived in L.A., me and one of my close friends, man, we used to go to this a spot in Melrose. And it was like
Poetry lounge?
Poetry lounge, bro. Like, I mean, it was dope. Like, you walk in and like, if all the seats, man, were filled, there were people like laying down on the
floor.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
It's a nice place.
yeah, and like one night, man, we went and it was Angela Bassett, she was there, Jill Scott,
Wow.
and they were just like chilling.
Just chilling.
And like Jill Scott, that's when it was big Jill Scott though. You know what I'm saying? And she was laying down like, like she was laying down on the
Big Jill Scott.
Big Jill Scott, not you know what I'm saying? I don't do little Jill. I was playing. Nah, but
Like Big Luther.
yeah, Big Luther though. Nah, I'm saying I like curl, not quite right Luther. That's a little.
Quite right, girl. Oh my goodness.
Nah, baby, she was just chilling. Like she was literally laying down on the stage, man, and like she was like right by us, and she was just regular, man, just cool. But there was this guy there, man, and this dude was just unbelievable. And then he ended up being on Kanye's album, College Dropout.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Okay.
He's from
Man,
Chicago.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of his poem, but hey, everybody, man, was just yelling and screaming.
Wow.
I mean, what y'all do, man, is important.
Yeah,
I can go on and on, man, forever. I mean, I love poetry, man. I can't wait, man, to bring y'all back. Y'all bring more people.
Yeah.
And we do need to do this right like every
Absolutely.
month, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But thank y'all, man, for coming.
It's there.
Yeah.
Thank
there.
y'all.
Yeah, it's powerful, man. Powerful.
I just want to thank Ebony for putting this together, and I want to thank y'all for coming. If it wasn't for Ebony, we wouldn't have y'all
Yeah,
here.
man.
Ebony,
Ebony.
scouted
Easy
y'all
E.
out. Let me know
Easy
what's
E.
going on.
Easy over
I
here.
mean, I don't know who's in the poetry scene. I know a couple of people, but I know that she's in that scene
Right.
heavily.
Yeah.
And I didn't know you was doing it as heavy. I remember you doing the music thing. So
Yeah.
the fact that you're doing it like real heavy now, I'm just like impressed. This is good.
You gotta change it up.
You know what I'm saying? And you're very good.
Multifaceted.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
shout out to y'all for what y'all doing, man. Y'all inspire us and y'all inspire the world. And if it wasn't for this creative art, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes beyond that. People think art, they think of somebody drawing something. No, this is art. Like
Yeah.
like
Absolutely.
human emotion,
Spoken word, man.
spoken
Right.
word. And that's amazing. So Thank y'all for coming to the Gray Area. I want to shout out to our faithful viewers who continuously chime in and love to support us. Y'all gonna get many, many views after this, after tonight, because a lot of our people like to listen to this at work during the day. So
please share this too.
Yeah, please continue to share this and let people know about it. This needs to be heard. So just thank y'all and keep tuning in, and we'll catch y'all next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace
Thank
out.
you.
Peace.
Add us on Twitter and Instagram at The Gray Area Media. Please visit our website at www.thegrayareamedialive.com. Thank you.